Great morning. It is Wednesday. Yes, June 1st. Okay. Well, I got up and the first thing I saw on YouTube today was parents of student athletes who died by suicide. Now, I'll put the link in the description here, and I wanted to show you the reading that I got with it. So what I got was about their health. Okay. And so the reading was a right reading because it's locked in until they just, retreat when it comes to their health. And now we're talking about their mental health with this. These were all-star athletes and that committed suicide. So what happens with this? We have the family, okay? A lot of family values. They come to a crossroads in their life and they get hung up. Okay? They don't talk to their family about it. They get hung up when it comes to these things, and they don't talk to their family about the depression or the pressure or the other stuff that they're feeling, okay? So what happens, they have a big burden. They're carrying all this energy, continue to try to charge forward because that's what they do as an athlete. And, these burdens just keep charging forward. The message is the burden gets heavier and heavier and heavier on them, okay? And they make a rash decision. Heavy burdens. The message is, you're a star athlete. We're so proud of you, okay? But they're seeing from a different perspective, come to a crossroads. They're carrying the burden. It just keeps getting harder and harder for them, continuing to try to charge forward. And that message comes. And the final thing we have, that it limits, eats away at their ship coming in and their future, going forward for the future. In other words, they're clammed up. They're not telling people the difficulty they're having. They get harassed online. You get trolls. You get all of this other stuff happening. One of the girls was going through a disciplinary thing at the school and hadn't told her parents what's going on. And it just becomes overwhelmed, okay? It becomes overwhelming to the point of they don't see a way out. It's just so much pressure. Now, when you're someone like that and you're achieving things, the parents are proud of you. You don't want to let them down. Okay? So you're just continuing to give everything you've got to give, and then they come to a difficult point there. And they just don't know how to get over it because they don't want to disappoint the parents. They don't want to, open up. And they just eat what's going on. And it becomes so overwhelming that they wind up taking their lives, So nothing is that grievous to take one's life when it comes to something like this. So I'm going to see if I can pull some cards. And what is the answer to this? What kind of thing can we look at that would be beneficial to know when it comes to this type of pressure for student athletes? To kind of minimize this taking of your life. So we have the first card out is, the card of just really striving. I mean, hard, full out. One-pointed focus. And we have kind of, sometimes it's government, sometimes it's the higher, looking to the higher things, looking to experts. You want to see somebody expert when you're having that singular drive and difficulty, okay? It needs to be voiced. Something needs to be put out there, okay? So communicating. Okay. We've got wanting to go to calmer waters, trying to get away with something, the lies, the things, perhaps lying to themselves. This usually has to do with monetary or, just gathering and collecting the big harvest. In other words, wanting to continue to go, and they're not looking at the fact that they're lying to themselves, okay, about the burdens that they have. And they continue to tell themselves it's okay, can make it through. But we have here back to the burden, heavy burden that they're carrying, just feeling like they're beat, struggling. I can make it through, I can struggle through. And this still trying to go forward, but they're kidding themselves with this, because the burden that, it's like, I've got to produce, I've got to be successful. That fish, the big thing of fish is usually big monetary reward, something. I need to be successful, okay? I just need to continue forward to be successful. And last we have King of Swords, and this just becomes surmountingly difficult, okay? They're battling through, but the battle becomes surmountingly difficult. So I think it just is pointing to the fact there needs to be awareness and this communication and getting some help from those guidance to get them through it. But this is something, it's an internal thing, and they don't let you know what's happening. They continue to think that I can battle through this. It's difficult. I'm getting through it. But it just becomes insurmountable for them. And it just basically cuts them down. It cuts them down in the midst of life, because they just, trying to get away with it, lying to themselves, okay? Lying to themselves as the burden becomes more and more obvious, okay? And the pressure becomes more and more difficult to hold on to. The battle becomes ever more egregious, just feeling like there's no end to it. And it cuts them down. It's a mountain too high that impassable. It feels like an impassable mountain. An impassable mountain. maybe they've written a diary. Maybe there's something there that's being put, but this needs to not just be, because the first reading too, internalized. This is all internalized with these kids, and they are just used to slice and dice. I mean, just continuing to cut through and doing everything they can. Kind of like all or nothing. So there needs to be more reaching out. I think it needs to have a little bit more of a spiritual life as well. Good spiritual guidance. Needs to have more good spiritual guidance as well. And holding to the higher things other than just you've got to produce, you've got to, yeah. So it's about, they may be having all out thing, but could be having diaries. They're writing diaries, but people are not seeing. And how many times do we see this with kids that commit suicide, that they've written a diary, but they haven't shared? Of course, they haven't shared it. People don't know what's going on with them internally until it's too late. And so I think, with this, it's the spiritual guidance, okay? Holding to a higher power, coming to those in the know, getting more counseling, more aid, more help in that field, okay? This is something that's really needed, to have better counseling, better guidance in higher things, okay? Because again, we have this wanting to move forward and trying to get away with things when it comes to the big haul. But the big haul is hard to pull in, okay? When you've got a big harvest, then I think, unfortunately what happens is they want to kid others, they want to kid themselves. I think this is more about lying to themselves and lying to others with the takeaway, and they're trying to take away more than they can carry. It's just insurmountable, and they're not honest about how difficult this is, okay? Because we have, again, the burden, overwhelming burden. Again, trying to fight through. It's difficult. They can make it, okay? It's a journey. They've got to understand it's a journey, and we all come to points where it's just feel like you're defeated. I know in my own spiritual journey, I reached a point where I was praying for death. Literally, I was praying for death because I didn't think I could stand another second. But obviously, I'm still here, okay? I knew, to take my life was not the answer, and just kept, sometimes it was second by second getting through stuff, second by second. But they come to a point of this overwhelm, okay? They think it's a truth, but it's not a truth, and it becomes insurmountable, okay? It feels like it's a insurmountable problem, okay? Well, nothing is insurmountable in the end, okay? But you've got to have good guidance, good help. You've got to make others aware rather than just keeping it in a diary, internalized, okay, with the struggle that you're having. And I think this is a struggle with life. It's a struggle with others. It's, this cutting part. And like I said, everyone is going to come through some point in their lives of a cutting difficulty, whether it's in your early years or whether it's in your later years. At every point, everybody's life is going to have something that's going to come up that's going to feel massive and insurmountable. But it's not insurmountable. You just got to hold on. Take your next breath. This too will pass, because everything goes in cycles. We have our up cycles, we have our down cycles. But again, it's always changing. It's always changing. So hang in and don't give up the fight. If you're having difficulties, talk with somebody. It's not the end of the world. Everybody has had difficulties. I don't care how much of a star athlete you are, or beauty contests, or whatever it is in life. There are going to be challenges along the way. And if a burden is too difficult, there is no shame in backing off. Okay? You've done your best, you do your best, and then sometimes it has to do with time to let go of something and move into something else. Okay? So thanks for tuning in, Love and Light. See you online.